The Communist Manifesto was written as the official plan of the Communist League, a group of workers that started in Germany but later spread worldwide. At the time, before 1848, it had to be a secret group because of strict political rules. In 1847, Karl Marx and Fredric Engles were asked to write a clear guide explaining the group's goals. They finished it in 1848, just before a major revolution in France. The manifesto was quickly translated into many languages, including French and English. After a failed workers' uprising in Paris in June 1848, the working class movement lost power for a while. Governments cracked down on worker groups, like the Communist League, whose leaders were arrested in Germany. By 1852, the League disbanded, and the manifesto was almost forgotten. But when workers regained strength, a new group called the International Working Men's Association, or First International, formed in 1864. This group united workers across Europe and America. Though it avoided directly promoting the manifesto at first, it helped workers realize that small reforms weren't enough, they needed bigger changes. By the 1870s, the ideas of the manifesto spread widely, even influencing groups that once feared socialism. The manifesto became popular again, with translations in over 12 languages by the 1880s, from Russia to Spain. It remains one of the most important books for workers worldwide. Key ideas of the manifesto: Marx and Engels argued that history is shaped by struggles between classes, the rich, bourgeoisie, who control property, and the workers, proletariat, who labor for them. They believed workers must unite to free themselves and end all unfair class systems. Engels compared this idea to Darwin's theory of evolution, calling it a breakthrough in understanding society. Updates in 1872, Marx and Engels noted that while the manifesto's main ideas still held true, some details needed updating. For example, after the 1871 Paris Commune, where workers briefly ran Paris, they learned that workers couldn't just take over the existing government, they had to build a new system. Why communist? In 1847, socialism often meant unrealistic ideas pushed by educated reformers, while communism referred to workers demanding total change. Since the manifesto focused on workers freeing themselves, communist fit best. The ghost of communism. A powerful idea, communism is spreading across Europe. Leaders, religious figures, and governments, like kings, popes, and politicians, are scared of it and are working together to stop it. Even groups that disagree with these leaders are called communists as an insult. But communists are done staying quiet. They're ready to explain their goals openly to the world. Workers versus business owners. All through history, societies have been divided into classes that fight each other: masters and slaves in ancient times, lords and peasants in the Middle Ages. Today, business owners, bourgeoisie, who control factories and wealth, and workers, proletarians, who labor for wages. How business owners took over. Long ago, feudal systems, where lords ruled over peasants, collapsed. New trade routes, colonies, and inventions, like steam engines, created a class of wealthy business owners. They replaced old craft guilds with factories, used machines to mass-produce goods, and built a global market. Over time, they gained political power, shaping governments to protect their wealth. The business owner's impact. Business owners changed society in big ways. Money rules everything. They replaced traditions and loyalty with profit. Jobs, family ties, and even art became about money. Constant change. They keep inventing new technology and products, making old ways obsolete. Everything solid melts into air, nothing stays the same. Global expansion. To grow profits, they spread worldwide, building factories everywhere and relying on resources from distant countries. Cultural shifts, ideas, books, and trends now spread globally, mixing cultures and breaking down national barriers. The downside of progress. While business owners created wealth and innovation, they also turned doctors, lawyers, and artists into paid employees. Made workers' lives unstable with constant job changes. destroyed local industries, forcing countries to depend on global trade. Why this matters? Marx and Engles argue that business owners can't stop chasing profits, which leads to endless conflict between them and workers. But this struggle sets the stage for workers to unite and demand fair treatment. The power of business owners. Business owners, bourgeoisie, use factories, machines, and global trade to spread their way of life worldwide. Their cheap goods break into every market, forcing other nations to adopt their methods or risk falling behind. They reshape societies to match their own image, prioritizing profit over traditions. Cities over countryside. Business owners made cities the centers of power, pulling people from rural areas into urban jobs. This shift also made poorer countries depend on wealthier ones, just as farmers depend on business owners. Concentration of wealth and power. Business owners gather workers, factories, and money under their control. This leads to strong central governments that serve their interests, replacing older, fragmented systems. Progress and problems. In less than 100 years, business owners created more technology and wealth than all past eras combined: machines, railways, farms, and industries. But these advances outgrew the old feudal system, where lords ruled peasants, which collapsed. Now, business owners face their own crisis: overproduction. Factories make too much, causing economic crashes where goods are destroyed while people starve. To survive, business owners exploit new markets or cut costs, but this only leads to bigger crises later. Workers' lives under business owners. Workers are treated like parts of a machine, doing repetitive tasks for low pay. Wages barely cover basic needs, and job security vanishes as machines replace skills. Even doctors, artists, and shopkeepers are reduced to paid workers. Small businesses fail, forcing more people into the working class, proletariat. Workers fight back. At first, workers destroy machines or factories to protest unfair conditions. But over time, they unite into unions to demand better pay and rights. Railroads and communication tools help workers across regions organize faster than ever before. Business owners create their own downfall. The same tools business owners used to defeat feudal lords, like factories and global trade, now empower workers. As industries grow, so does the working class. Workers realize their collective strength and form political groups to challenge business owners. Even laws like the 10-hour workday in England show their growing power. Key idea: business owners need workers to fight their battles, like against aristocrats or foreign rivals, but this gives workers education, unity, and political tools. In the end, the working class becomes the gravedigger of the business owner's system, fighting for a fairer society. As industries grow, even some wealthy people lose their power or money and are forced to join the working class. These educated newcomers bring fresh ideas and knowledge to workers' movements. When tensions between classes reach a boiling point, the wealthy class begins to fall apart. A small group of them, especially thinkers who understand the big picture of history, switch sides. They abandon their old wealthy class and join the workers, who are fighting to build a fairer future. This isn't new. Long ago, some nobles joined business owners during big changes. Now, parts of the wealthy class are doing the same for workers. Among all groups fighting against business owners today, only the working class, proletariat, is truly revolutionary. Modern industry destroys other classes, like small business owners, shopkeepers, craftsmen, and farmers, but the working class grows stronger because it's created by this system. Why other classes aren't revolutionary? Small business owners, farmers, etc. fight to protect their old way of life from big corporations. Instead of pushing for progress, they cling to the past. They're reactionary. They try to turn back the clock to outdated systems. The only time they support change is if they realize they'll soon fall into poverty and join the working class. Then, they fight not for their current status, but for their future as workers. The working class is the only group with nothing to lose and everything to gain from overthrowing the business owner's system. Others resist change until they face the reality of becoming workers themselves. The poorest groups and the working class. The poorest, most neglected people in society, called the dangerous class, might sometimes join a workers' revolution, but their harsh lives often make them easy targets for wealthy rulers to bribe and use against progress. Workers have nothing to lose. Workers own no property. Their family life isn't tied to wealth, unlike rich families. Factories and low-wage jobs erase national differences. Workers in every country face the same struggles. Laws, morals, and religion are tools the wealthy use to control society and protect their power. Workers versus past ruling classes. Earlier powerful groups, like kings or nobles, stayed in charge by forcing everyone to follow their rules about owning land and wealth. Workers are different. To take control, they must destroy all old systems of ownership. They have no property to protect. Their goal is to end unfair ownership entirely. A revolution for the majority. All past revolutions were led by small groups, like nobles or business owners, for their own gain. The workers' movement is the first led by the vast majority, for the benefit of the vast majority. Workers can't improve their lives without tearing down the entire system built to keep them powerless. Workers' fight starts locally at first. Workers in each country focus on battling their own nation's wealthy class, bourgeoisie. Only later does this struggle become global. From hidden conflict to open revolution, the fight between workers and business owners is like a hidden war inside society. Over time, this tension explodes into open rebellion. Workers overthrow the wealthy, paving the way for a system where they hold power. Past versus present oppression. Every society in history relied on oppressors and the oppressed. But past rulers, like feudal lords, at least let the oppressed survive. For example, serfs, medieval peasants, could eventually gain some rights. Small business owners under feudalism grew into the wealthy class. Modern workers get poorer, not richer. Today's workers, unlike past groups, don't benefit from industrial progress. Instead, factories grow, but workers' lives get harder. Wages shrink, and poverty spreads faster than wealth. Why business owners can't rule anymore? The wealthy class fails because they can't even guarantee workers' basic survival. Workers become so poor that the wealthy must support them, through welfare, etc., instead of workers enriching the wealthy. This proves their system is broken. Society can't function under their rule any longer. How business owners depend on workers. The wealthy class, bourgeoisie, needs to grow their money and power, which they do by paying workers low wages. This system only works if workers compete against each other for jobs, keeping wages low. Industry growth backfires. Business owners push for bigger factories and new technology to make more profit. But this forces workers to work together in large groups, like factories or unions, even though the wealthy didn't want this. Over time, this unity weakens the business owner's control. Workers become the gravediggers by building modern industry. Business owners accidentally create the very thing that will destroy them. Organized workers. Just like gravediggers bury the dead, workers will bury the unfair system. The downfall of the wealthy class and the rise of workers' power are unstoppable. Key points: wealthy class needs constant growth of money, capital, and cheap labor. Workers' competition keeps wages low but eventually forces workers to unite. Result: business owners' greed destroys their own system. Workers win in the end.